Hello and what is up guys, and welcome back to another video from Screencasters. And today I'm going to be doing a deck profile update of my Cyber Dragons to the channel. Now before I get started, one thing I want to point out real quick is I have done some duels with this deck. If you guys want to see Cyber Dragons in action, there will be a link down below in the description box or on the top right side of your screen over here somewhere. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed those duels so you guys can see this deck play out for itself. So without further ado, let's get started. I'm playing 3 Cyber Dragon, self-explanatory. I'm also doing 3 Core. Core is actually pretty amazing. One thing people don't do a lot, but I think is really integral, is if Core is in your graveyard and your opponent has a monster and you don't, you can banish Core, and instead of summoning a Cyber Dragon, if you already got a level 5 play, one thing I tend to do is summon another Core in defense mode, and that way when I contact Fuse or Power Bond or Overload Fusion or well, not Overload, but if I Fuse or if he leaves the field, I'll still have a Core in the graveyard, so if anything happens during my turn, I will still have another Core play for next turn, which is pretty damn good. I'm also doing 3 Dry. There's no reason not to play 3. I really don't like this card for a multitude of reasons, but for the most part you kind of need him because he's a Power Bond target. He does make your Cyber Dragons level 5, so that's something. And last, the Cyber Dragon lineup, we got 2 Zwei because Zwei is pretty good just for fusing. That's about it. And he's also good for contact fusing with your when you give your opponent a Jizz Kaiju to make Fortress Dragon, which is pretty damn good. For the rank 5 spam of the deck, I got 3 Galaxy Soldier. You need Galaxy Soldier. He's a 1-card infinity if you have a bunch of lights in your hand, which is pretty damn good, and he searches himself. And if you really need to get a hold of him, he's searchable with Repair Plant. We got 1 Golden Jet because I like this card a lot more than Dry. You can make Pleiades and stuff with him, and he's just a level 5 tuner. Well, not a tuner. He's a level 5 light machine because you can normal summon him, make him level 5, and he's like a normal summonable level 5, which is pretty damn good. And we got 1 Electromagnetic Turtle to dump with your Rampage Dragon. So if you don't get the OTK, you still have a bunch of backup plays, which is basically what I built this deck for. So when you do get your OTK stop, because a lot of things running around with like Dimensional Barrier and Solemn Strike and Warning and all that stuff, it's nice to have a comeback play, something that can ensure that you don't get gamed next turn, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's it for the rank 5 spam of the deck. I'm still maining Kaijus because Kaijus are like the best cards in the game right now, honestly, besides the Solemn Brigade and Barrier. And Desires, because Desires is fucking amazing. That Neg 9, am I right? But we got 3 Jizz Kaiju. This card's amazing. Give it to your opponent. Contact Fuse with it, it's great. You can also give it to yourself with Slumber in case you want a big beater. And we got 1 Gamecell and 1 Kamungus. I really like Kamungus. Some people run the Thunder King guy, but Kamungus is easier to run over. I mean, I know you run the Thunder King, so give it to yourself and give your opponent a Jizz Kaiju to help OTK, but you don't really need it. I mean, I was thinking about it, but I don't really own a copy. But Kamungus does pull through. There's a lot of Blue Eyes at my local, so that's something. But Cyber Dragons don't have a problem OTKing. Like, you resolve 1 Power Bond, 1 Overload. If you resolve 1 Overload Fusion, that's 6,300 points of damage. So all you really need is another monster to game them. So I feel like Thunder King isn't needed, but there's no reason not to play him if you have a copy. So if you really want to, you can cut the Kamungus for the Thunder King, but I wouldn't recommend it. Now this is where the deck profile gets a little bit different. I'm playing 2 Max C as well as 2 Ghost Ogre. The main reason for this is Ghost Ogre is a light monster, so you can discard her with Galaxy Soldier, and Ghost Ogre is amazing against Zodiacs. It's fucking awesome. And it's just an overall good card this format. I see no reason not to main it. It's an incredibly good card that has synergy with your deck. There's no reason not to play it in Cyber Dragons in my opinion. And Max C, oh boy, if you open this going second, which is what you want to do in this deck, like, what is your opponent going to do, you know what I'm saying? So, that's it for the monsters, on for the spells. So we got 3 Overload Fusion. I prefer this over, like, the 3 Power Bond and Overload, so I do 3 Overload and 1 Power Bond. Basically, 4 ways to Fusion summon your Chimeratech Rampage. And the reason I prefer Overload over Power Bond is Overload is almost always live, whereas Power Bond, this deck isn't very good on hand advantage. Overload lets you summon from your graveyard, which is a lot easier in this deck because you're dumping things so often with the Galaxy Soldier with fusion summoning, with contact fusing. There's a lot of reasons you can do that. But Overload basically makes your Rampage 6300 because he can attack 3 times. He's 2100. So the double attack from Power Bond isn't needed, but it does help when it comes up. Also playing 3 instant fusion because Panzer Dragon, it's like a very easy infinity with your Galaxy Soldier. And you can use instant fusion with your Ghost Stoker to go into Scarlight. So another way to burn your opponent free game. So that's pretty damn good. And last of 3 elves, we got 3 Interrupted Kaiju Slumber because it's just a really good blowout card. It's a board wipe. Board wipes are really good this format. I see no reason not to main it, especially with all the Kaijus you're maining. So yeah, that's it for the 3 ofs. We got 2 Twin Twister. Twin Twister's awesome. Sniping at those D barriers, forcing them to call out something stupid like XYZ so you can like power bomb them for game. It's pretty good. It forces activations. So if you're about to do your Chimeratech Rampage play, it's nice to snipe the back row before they strike you know what I'm saying? So yeah, 2. You can try 3, but I just can't find room for it. I'm also doing 2 Cyber Repair Plan. I see no reason to play 3. It is such a dead draw going first. Especially if your deck doesn't want to go first, and I'd rather search it with core. I just don't want to play 3 of it. It gets really cloggy. I'd rather search it. There's a lot of reasons for it. You can try 3 if you really want to, but I prefer just to play 2 and the 1 Foolish Burial. Foolish Burial, of course, to send your Cyber Dragon core to make your repair plants live. And if you're in a very bad situation, you could use this to dump your turtle and, you know, give yourself another turn to top deck something better, like a Slumber or something, or an Overload. So that's it for the main deck. On for the extra deck. For the fusion monsters, we got 2 Panzer Dragon. You don't need 3. It's a good card. And if you really are in a bad situation, you can just instant fusion it out, let it die, and just pop a floodgate or something. It's pretty damn good. We're also doing 2 Rampage Dragon. It's your overload targets. It's a really good card. Basically, if you can resolve a Rampage Dragon and get those attacks through and snipe that back row, like it's pretty much game. That's 6,300 damage to the face for free. And if you have another monster, that's pretty much guaranteed game, you know. So that's pretty damn good. And last, the fusions, we got 2 Fortress Dragon. It's a really good card. You don't need 3 because extra deck space is pretty damn tight. And honestly, you only really need to resolve it once. Contact with your opponent's Jizz Kaiju, give yourself the Gamma Sil, go into the Titanic Galaxy. It's pretty damn good. But yeah, you only need 2. For XYZs, we got 1 Titanic Galaxy. You could try fitting in a Lancelot, but as I said before, extra deck space is pretty damn tight. The 2 Infinity, 2 Nova, it's the standard cards of your deck. It helps you secure the OTK. It stops your opponent from chaining to Rampage Dragon. Although, if it's a strike, you know, sad times, you know what I'm saying? That's why Twin Twister is mained. But yeah, it's a pretty good card. Also, one thing I want to point out is I'm not maining Barbaroid anymore because of the extra deck space is so tight. So if your Cyber Dragon Nova dies, you can just summon Panzer Dragon. And if you have another level 5 play, you can just go into another Nova, you know what I'm saying? Although, most of the time when people strike your Nova plays, they wait for the Infinity. So honestly, Barbaroid isn't even needed anymore, which is pretty damn sad because it's a really good card too. For Restoring 5s, you got 1 Pleiades, 1 Zenmayo, and 1 Volcasaurus. Zenmayo forces the Dimensional Barrier. Although if they see 2 level 5s on the field, they're already going to activate it. But if they don't, it like forces your opponent to call, I don't know, XYZ or something. It forces back row, which is pretty damn good. Volcasaurus helps burn for game. And Pleiades, you can't summon 2 Infinity in the same turn because of its effect. So what you tend to do is go into... because you can usually go into 2 rank 5s in the same turn. So you make one of them Infinity and make the other one Pleiades. So you pretty much already have 2 negates. Like you can bounce a card and negate any card you want. So that's pretty damn good. And you can give yourself your Kaijus back. And last year extra deck, we got 1 Scarlight Red Dragon Archfiend. It's pretty good with the Ghost Ogre. You could already special summon your Cyber Dragons for free. Normal summon your Ghost Ogre. And go into him. It's a 3,000 attack, and he burns for game, which is pretty damn good. It's like your own cowboy, in addition to your Volcasaurus, so that's pretty damn good. So yeah, that is my Cyber Dragon deck profile update to the channel. This is a really fun deck, and I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys want to see this deck in action, as I said before, check the description box down below, or click the link on the top right side of your screen, so you can see this deck in a bunch of amazing duels. There are some changes to the deck, but for the most part, it's pretty much the same from the duel video. And if you guys want to see a long list of possible tech cards for this deck, check the description box down below, and you can see a long list of spicy tech cards that you can see to try and improve or innovate your own Cyber Dragon builds. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like the video, comment the video, and subscribe to my channel, which is Screencasters, and join Honk Nation for more epic and amazing videos similar to this one. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and have a nice day.